Well, thank you very much for coming. Obviously, it's appropriate this session is taking place in the National Press Building because now I know exactly what it feels like to be a member of the National Press Gallery. So I'd like to right now get to the facts of today's news. So today I was suspended from the National Conservative Caucus. I have not spoken to any party official or to the Prime Minister, so I can't exactly tell you why this happened. But I heard on television that there were concerns over caucus confidentiality in my blog. So one of the first things I'd like to say is I definitely have an invitation to all Canadians and to you, garth.ca. Go and read it and make up your own mind. I think that's the best thing I can say there. Now, there are some questions that come to mind that I think, in light of today's action, that we might all perhaps want to ask each other. Why now? Why today? This week? My comments about the need for an effective green plan, or my crusade for income splitting for working families, or my views on the need for tolerance in politics, or my views on the need to put elected officials in cabinet, they're not new. And I can't answer the question as to why this happened. It's, I think, an important question as to why it happened now. And I would certainly recommend you might want to talk to Doug Finley, Director of Political Operations for the Conservative Party, to shed some light on that. Question: have my comments from time to time crossed the line in terms of party discipline? An important question. Well, as some of you may know, I'm not new to Parliament Hill. I've been here before. I've been a member of Parliament. I've been a cabinet minister. I ran as a leadership contender for the Progressive Conservative Party. I've been here before, and I'm the same guy, and I'm doing the same job that I have done in the past. And I'm pretty surprised this time, I must tell you, that all conservative voices are not being welcomed. Question: am I a bad conservative? Have I let my party down? By my standards, no. I've been a conservative, I've been a Tory all of my adult life. I did not leave my beliefs or convictions at the caucus room door, that we need less government or more rights for citizens. I still believe in those things. Question: what is the proper role of a member of Parliament in Ottawa? Again, that's a big question. Well, I believe all MPs, and I've said this continuously, I believe all MPs need to answer to the voters first, to the constituents, to the taxpayers. That's who we work for. And we answer to our party leaders and our parties themselves second. I think that actually is what Canadians expect. And broad-based political parties, especially those that form the government, have to listen to voices from all kinds of people all over the place. And I think that is, to me, that is just smart politics. And I think that is a good question for today. Now, finally, what comes next? Well, for taxpayers and citizens, I would say, please don't let Garth Turner take your eye off the ball. Okay, I'm not the story. The story here is the Green Plan. The story here is the next budget. The story here is accountability and tolerance in government and in Ottawa. That's the story, okay? I'm a one-day story. So don't take your eye off the ball. That's the important thing. And certainly, I think all of us need to keep fighting for those issues that I've been writing about and talking about to Canadians. For example, the need for environmental sustainability. Well, what comes next for me? Well, I guess I don't need to go to caucus meetings anymore. I can actually have one in the shower. But what I am going to do is go back to my riding and talk to my constituents and talk to my riding association. And I'll have a few more town hall meetings. I had 3 of them last week. I guess I'm going to have 3 more next week. I have them continuously, but I need to go and talk to people about what they want. Am I angry or upset? I'm upset. Of course I'm upset. It's always upsetting when you lose your family. Am I angry? No. Life's too short. And the party was free to make its choice, and I certainly respect that. But this is not going to stop me for a minute from fighting for those things that I believe are right, or from doing this crazy job the way that I think people expect that it should be done. So I'm here to do the people's work, and whatever label is put on me, so be it. Thank you.
Conor McCharles, Toronto Star.
Mr. Turner, you say you're a one-day story, but you're suggesting some pretty serious things about the Conservative Party and its leader in the way they've dealt with you today. You say you were not aware of why you've been suspended from caucus, but we were told by party officials today, the chairman of the Caucus National in Ontario, that in fact many discussions had been had with you about caucus confidentiality. This is an ongoing problem, an ongoing issue. Can you speak to that? Were you apprised of this motion, and did you get a chance to defend yourself? And if not, what does that say about the leader of your party, your caucus chairs?
Well, I can't break caucus confidentiality, of course.
Oh. You're not a member of that caucus.
That's right. Well, the issue of caucus confidentiality had come up. A couple of people had expressed concerns, and particularly with my writings. So there's nothing that I have done or said or spoken to anyone that is not public and that has not been published on the internet. So it's all there. I did ask a couple of caucus colleagues who had concerns about that to give me examples of exactly what they were concerned about. We chatted about it, and that seemed to be the end of it. So I was rather surprised this morning when the issue of me came up again. But I can tell you this morning, caucus confidentiality, at least in the caucus meeting I was in, was not discussed. It was not the issue. The issue were my beliefs on policies. That was the issue.
So just as a follow-up then, you're saying that the public reason they've given is not, in fact, the reason you were given inside caucus as to why they were voting you out. And they said the vote was unanimous. Did you vote yourself out? You were there.
Not a bad idea. I was not in National Caucus. I went to Ontario Caucus this morning, which is a group of some 30-odd members of Parliament. The issue was discussed there. There was a vote. I lost. The issue was not caucus confidentiality. In National Caucus, I was not there. I haven't had anyone communicate with me from National Caucus. I haven't spoken to any party official, so I don't know. I've never seen a vote in National Caucus. It's just never happened. So I can't imagine. It was quite extraordinary, whatever happened. But caucus confidentiality, I mean, as I say once again to you and everyone who's listening to me, there are no secrets. Everything I've said is on the public record. And if people can find instances where I have betrayed the confidence of a colleague, then, my goodness, it's there. And I've asked colleagues about that, and they were not forthcoming.
Alan Woods, Ken West.
You mentioned some suggestion, some concerns. You talked about Doug Finley. Asked Doug Finley. And asked you to elaborate on that, what you mean by that. I understand he was at the Ontario Caucus meeting, which may or may not be a rare event. And did you have any problems with your nomination meeting? I understand, correctly or incorrectly, that you do have the Conservative nomination right now for the next election.
Yes, I am the duly nominated Conservative candidate in the riding of Halton. Did I have problems with my nomination? It was almost contested, as you may know, and again, I wrote about it. But you may know that there was a group led by Charles McVitie, who's head of Defend Marriage Canada, and who is a crusader for the overturning of the same-sex marriage vote to come up. He did challenge me. He mustered resources, moved into my riding, and actually took me on, and with a fair amount of force. I opposed, and he abandoned his attempt. So ultimately, I was acclaimed.
And so, Doug Finley. And is that what you mean by your position on political government policies?
I find what has happened surprising, odd, extraordinary, unusual, and perhaps landmark in the fact that it hasn't occurred before. So one would have to ask why. And I guess the answer to that would be there must be a reason why the political establishment wanted this to transpire the way it did. I come back to the first question I asked: why now? You know, what actually happened today or yesterday to precipitate this? And I guess if I had transgressed in something that I said or wrote, that would be front and center. You'd all know about it. I haven't seen it. I don't know what the answer to that question is. So I say he's a good guy to ask. He's director of political operations. This seems to be a political issue. Makes sense.
Susan Bonner, CBC.
Mr. Turner, we were told today that this was a grassroots movement that came from within the Ontario Caucus and that the Prime Minister was not made aware of this. Do you believe that the Prime Minister wanted you out of caucus?
I don't know that, Susan. I do not know. I have not spoken to the Prime Minister. He has not called me. So I can't answer that question. The discussion in Ontario Caucus was pro and con, as you'd have with any caucus discussion. And I respected everyone's views. Some people agreed, some people didn't. So, was it grassroots? Well, I came from caucus members, but, what's beyond that, I don't know.
But you said that the political establishment allowed this to happen. Do you include the Prime Minister in the political establishment?
Well, I think you're better to ask that question than I.
You include him, that's what I want to know.
I'm not accusing the Prime Minister directly of anything because I have no knowledge of that. I don't know that. I know Doug Findlay was in the room this morning, and that's something that, happens extremely rarely. In fact, I'd never seen it before. So that may give a clue as to whether there was something else to this. I don't know. I'm not going to cast aspersions or make allegations, Susan. I just don't know. I just don't know. If I had more information, if you had more information, we'd all know a little more clearly as to what my crime was and whether the punishment fits it. But I don't think we quite know that.